Our speaker this morning is someone that I've known casually for many years, but recently got a bigger picture of who she is and a greater understanding of how talented she is. She is the newest member of our ministerial team, and I present to you Reverend Julie Tkachuk.
Big applause.
Yay!
Good morning, everyone.
She's not on.
We are on, however, we are sideways, so we are going to
Nope.
stop. I can tell you we are sideways, because people are telling us we are sideways. So let's stop for a second.
We're going to stop
And
because
figure
we're
that out.
sideways.
Hello, everybody.
There you go.
There we go.
You can turn that.
Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. I'll just keep on talking because I'm sure you can hear me. So I find it very interesting that
I'll get the...
my first talk is online, considering that I am the Virtual Connections minister here. So how cool is that? The universe is really good, isn't it? And while we're doing our adjusting here, I am going to start with an opening treatment. So you don't need to look at your screen as we're getting our portrait straight here. So just close your eyes and let's just take a deep breath. A nice deep grounding, full breath in and full breath out. And take these words for yourself if they fit. So know that there is one power, one mind, one life. I know that I am one with this divine power, with this divine life, with this divine mind. And right here and right now, I do know that all is well. I know that no matter what is occurring in the outside world, that my inside world is grounded, centered, safe, and well. And this morning I give thanks for technology. I give thanks for our willingness to learn and grow and figure out how to do this in the most effective way. I give thanks for your patience with us as we find our way, because we are all learning and growing at all times, just as around the globe people are growing and learning as they find their way in this extraordinary situation. And so with gratitude for all that is, for all that has been, and for all that is yet to be, I release these words to the law, knowing that the law corresponds by corresponding, by proving to us that all is well. I release, I let go, and know that all of this is so, and together we say, and so it is. All right. So we're still organizing our camera, but I'm going to go ahead anyway. So the title of my talk today is Honoring the Divine. And I want to start with a teaching story. Buddha was asked, "Are you a god?" And his response was, "No, I am not a god." He was asked then, I'm going to be turning as they move the camera.
No, it's okay.
It's all good?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's all good.
Then he was asked, "Are you an angel?" And Buddha responded, "No, I am not an angel." Finally, he was asked, "What are you then?" And he answered, "I am awake." So as far as I'm concerned, that is one of the first things that we can do to honor the divine, is to be awake. To live our lives consciously, deliberately, and to own everything that shows up in our life. Some of you may not know, but I send out a Monday to Friday email for the center. It's called the Metro Moment. And in that email, I put a motivational quote, and then I read an affirmation for it. And a couple of weeks ago, this is one of the quotes that I used. "Until you understand that nothing can happen to you, nothing can ever come to you or be kept from you, except in accord with your state of consciousness, you do not have the key to life." And that was written by Paul Twitchell. So to me, owning everything that shows up in my life is key. I stepped into my first Center for Spiritual Living, then known as the Center for Self-Awareness, in 1993. And my progress along the way has led me to the mirror, has led me to the place where no matter what shows up, the first thing that I do, well, maybe not the first thing I do, because sometimes I get kind of ticked off first, but the second thing I do, and I do it quicker and quicker, is put that mirror up. Put it up in front of my face and say, what in me has created this? And I do that not from a place of blame or fault or mistake or sin or anything like that. I do that from a place of power. Because I know that in my life, if I have created this, I can also create this. Because that's what our teaching teaches. One of my favorite movies is The Matrix. And I love the scene where Neo is presented with the red pill and the blue pill. And he chooses the red pill, of course, hence the movie. And down he goes the rabbit hole, as Morpheus explains it. But he goes to a place that is not very pretty. You know, they eat gruel, and it's dark, and they're underground, and they have no sunlight. And as far as I'm concerned, when you take the red pill, that's not what happens. I mean, there might be bumps along the way, but ultimately, there is bright light, there is abundance, there is amazing good when you take that red pill of truth. So, I went through my little list in my mental arena here about how I could honor the divine, how I could share with you to honor the divine. And the first thing, again, with that mirror, is to do your work first. First and foremost. I know, again, in this time of global, extraordinary events, we're recognizing that we are one. However, I want to read to you something that Ernest Holmes wrote, and I'm going to quote him a lot today because I've been reading some of his early writings, and that man was just crystal clear in his teaching and what he believed. He said, "We have no responsibility for anyone except ourselves. Get over all idea that you must save the world. We have all tried and have all failed. We may, by demonstrating in our own lives, prove that the law really exists as the power behind all things. This is all we can do. Everyone must do the same thing for himself or herself." So as each of us individually does our work and raises our own consciousness, that is how we raise the collective consciousness, one by one. And I may be wrong, but I think that's what's happening around the globe today. I think that more and more people are becoming conscious and that the dominoes are starting to fall. As each person is sitting in self-isolation, it gives us time to think and to ponder about how we're living our life, how we're treating ourselves, how we're treating the people in our lives. So be diligent in your spiritual practice. As religious scientists, we have the tools, we have spiritual mind treatment, we have meditation, we have journaling, self-reflection, we have community, once we can all get together again, but we have online community right now so we can support each other. I also think that doing your own work involves being diligent about what you allow into your consciousness. There's lots of cartoons on Facebook and online right now about our global experience. And one of the ones that really struck me as profound was a man in one frame sitting in front of his television, watching television, and the caption is, "What can I do to stop being terrorized?" And the frame right beside it is him with his remote control going click, turn the TV off. Be diligent about what you allow into your home, into your mind. I looked up influenza in Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life, yesterday. And man, oh man, that woman was bang on. First it says influenza, and in brackets it's respiratory ailments, which is very fitting. And to her, what she wrote the cause as is response to mass negativity and beliefs. Fear, belief in statistics. And what are we seeing? Global fear, statistics of how many people are dying. Not so many on how many people are recovering, which is lots. So her affirmation is I am beyond group beliefs or the calendar. I am free from all congestion and influence. So I am free from all congestion and influence. Powerful words. I say hallelujah, amen to that. Next thing about what I thought how to honor the divine is by remembering who and whose you are. I read a line from Rumi this week. He wrote, "You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop." You are God in expression. All of you is God, right from the tip of your head to the end of your toenails. Every cell, every organ, every atom, every particle of your being is divine. So by honoring the divine, you honor that divine presence within you completely. Ernest Holmes again wrote, "The individual who has the most power is the one who has the greatest realization of the divine presence." So recognize your divine presence. Walk around the house saying, "I am God, I am God." Your family might look at you funny, but you are God. Keep on saying it. When I was in my late 20s, before I even came to the Science of Mind teaching, I was studying A Course in Miracles at the time. And the lesson of the day, this particular day, was God is with me wherever I go. I worked for a small consulting firm. I was a bookkeeper, so I sat in the back office working by myself, as Martine knows. I love working by myself. But I was going out for lunch, and as I'm walking out, it was around the 124th Street area downtown here in Edmonton, so it's fairly busy, right? And there's groups of people from offices going together for lunch, and 2 or 3 people jogging together, and there's me walking alone. And I just started affirming. I was feeling isolated, like many of us are today, but I walked along and my mantra was, God is with me wherever I go. God is with me wherever I go. I just kept on saying it over and over and over again. I ended up at the old museum grounds, and I went and I sat on a park bench that overlooked the river valley. So, quite far away from buildings, still isolated, but God is with me wherever I go. I'm sitting there, and a man walks up behind me. I don't remember how he introduced himself to me, but he said, "I work at Government House, and there's nobody in the building right now. The sessions are out. Would you like a tour of the building?" Well, my left brain is saying, woman sitting alone on a park bench, man comes and invites her into an empty building. Well, I don't know. But I had been affirming, God is with me wherever I go. And my inspiration said, yes, go. I had the most incredible tour of Government House. I was allowed into rooms that nobody ever gets to go into. It was beautiful. Shook the guy's hand, because we could shake hands back then, and off I went. So God is with me wherever I go. Then I came to the Science of Mind teaching, and I changed that affirmation, because to me that still sounds like somebody separate, walking hand in hand with me. So my affirmation now is God in me, as me, through me, now and always. God in me, as me, through me, now and always. Now, my next way to honor the divine, I want to qualify, because I know that there is lots of suffering going on in the world. I know there are lots of people in fear. I know that there is death. And I know that there are lots of people in the medical community that are working 24/7, scientists working around the clock trying to find, a vaccine to counter this virus. I want to address what's going on from a spiritual level. Lots of people are addressing it from the physical level. I want to raise the consciousness. As religious scientists, I think that's where we need to hold the high watch anyway, or anybody who's operating from a high level of consciousness, whether you follow religious science or Science of Mind or not. Again, I have been reading many of the early teachers' Science of Mind textbook that was written before the big Science of Mind textbook, and some of Mary Baker Eddy's work. Now, Mary Baker Eddy takes a lot of flack, and the Christian Science movement does too, because they do not believe in doctors. I know there's been lawsuits and all kinds of things in the news about them. However, when I read Key to the Scriptures by Mary Baker Eddy, her work on health and Ernest Holmes' work on health is crystal, crystal clear. Mary Baker Eddy was a little bit of a, I don't know, like a scratchy kind of girl, I think, because she wrote this. The descriptions of disease by clairvoyants and medical charlatans, quacks alike, with mind and matter, are the prolific source of sickness. They are the principal manufacturers of death and disease. They first help to form the image of illness in mortal minds by telling patients that they have a disease, and then they go to work to try and destroy that disease. She went on to say the doctor's mind reaches his patients. His belief in disease, its reality and fatality to him, harms the patient more than his calomel and morphine. You know, again, in Ernest Holmes' writing, I was in that 1926 textbook, he addresses practitioners, and we have licensed practitioners here at the center who are trained to do spiritual mind treatment for you and know the truth for you. I think all people are practitioners. Anybody who walks around daily is doing a prayer daily, so you are practitioners. Be conscious of what you're thinking about and treating for. But Ernest Holmes says that our duty, our work, is to reduce disease to a thought. Because all that we see in the physical world, everything that we're looking at, everything that we're experiencing is an effect. And what creates that effect is cause. And that cause is what's going on up here, what we're thinking, believing, saying, affirming. Again, in the later science of my textbook, there's quite a large chapter on what Jesus taught. And I know Reverend Tim's doing a Bible metaphysical study class. Jesus never saw symptoms. Jesus never diagnosed disease. He said, pick up thy bed and walk, plain and simple. Didn't want to hear the story, didn't want to hear what you're going through, just pick up your bed and walk. So I'm saying, be health. Be health, because that is what you are. Again, Ernest Holmes says we cannot afford to believe in imperfection for a single instant. Let us learn to look as God must look, with perfect vision. And he goes on to say, we are not depending on a reed shaken by the wind, but on the principle of life itself. For all that we want, have, or ever shall have. It is not some power, or a great power. We affirm again, it is all power. All that we have to do is believe this and act as though it were so, never wavering, not once, no matter what happens. So no matter what happens around the globe, focus on the all power that resides in you. In you. Remember always what a powerful creator you are. About 2 years ago, I was flying home from Vancouver. And I love flying. I love the energy, the power that it takes to get that plane off the ground, and the softness of those landings of these gigantic pieces of machinery. So I'm sitting in the plane, and I was just sitting back, just relaxing, and with nothing else to do, I just started wrapping the plane in white light. You know, there was no turbulence, no reason to do that. But I just, again, you know, from the front of the plane to the back and around the wings and, you know, spiraling down the, you know, that's called the fuselage, I think. And about 10 minutes later, I opened my eyes, and I had a window seat. And I looked out the window to my left, and the sun was here, the plane was in the middle, the shadow of the plane was on the clouds, and the shadow was surrounded by white light. And around that white light was a circle, a rainbow circle. And if none of you believe me, I took a picture of it, and I have it on my phone. It was my home screen for the longest time, just to remember how powerful we are. So never forget that. Put emotion into what you do want. Some of the treatment work that I've done for people, they come to me and arms are flailing and they're crying because of what's going on in their lives and what they don't want. Put that amount of energy into what you do want. That's the love in our teaching. Somebody once told me that there's no love in science of mind, and I thought, are you kidding me? It's all the passion that we have for the things we desire. That's the love. So do what you're, excuse me, do what you're here to do. That is another way to honor the divine. Plato thought, Shakespeare wrote, Mozart composed, Einstein calculated, Baryshnikov danced. Figure out what it is yours to do. Right now, especially, I think the world needs conscious creators and deliberate creators more than ever. We need people who are uplifters. So whether it's you being a parent and raising conscious children, or going, as a nurse, going and uplifting somebody who is struggling. If you're a psychiatrist and somebody's struggling with fear, that's your work. Raising consciousness is for all of us to do right now. So lastly, I just want to end. We're honoring the divine in ourselves. We also honor the divine in others. I'm on Instagram, center account for Instagram as well, Spiritual Living Yeg, check it out. Somebody posted, and the world came together as the people stayed apart. Because there is real unity out there right now. People are supporting each other. I'm sure all of you have seen, or some of you have seen, around the world, the Italians standing on their balconies singing "Hug Me" in unison. There was a young Spanish man playing the theme song to the Titanic, and a fellow 2 balconies over on his saxophone joined him, and then they had this huge applause from all of the people on their balconies around the square where they were. So even as we're doing our work by ourselves in our own homes, remember that we are one, because that is the basic premise of our teaching, is that we are one. Because we are one, because we practice, the first step of our treatment is there is one power. In God, is there health and disease? Is there abundance and lack? Is there joy and misery? No. In God, in the oneness, in the unity, health, abundance, love, joy, peace. Hold your attention on that. Another Instagram post that I saw, it says, the earth sent us all to our rooms to think about what we've done. And I think I would take that a step further and say the universe sent us to our rooms. There's something bigger at work here. There is something that is unifying the globe. You notice, I drive around, and we're a peace center. I know Reverend Timberley promotes that. I feel such peace on the planet. There has been not one mass shooting that I've heard of, and I don't watch the news that regularly, but people are focused inward. And I say that is good. I say hallelujah. So I want to close with the last line from Ernie, that's my buddy Ernest Holmes, during these extraordinary times. He says, know that all is good and all God is with you, in you, as you, and through you. All life and all power, and never again say, I fear, but always, I trust. I trust, because I know in whom I have believed. So, Y5s to all of you. Namaste, and so it is.
Whoa!